And that's you can carry that on.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that your travel's becoming a little bit more difficult. Sometimes you don't want to get things lost.
I'm looking for a good
down
carry-on.
in the baggage department. That would be the best thing for you. That's awesome. Okay, we are cooking once again with Blueberries. Patricia joining us from the Black Cat Bistro.
Yes.
Okay, so I had to slow this down for a second.
Okay, we're on to
what
dessert.
were we doing this? Because you already had the egg in there.
Mm-hmm. We're whipping this up for, we're making wild blueberry pavlova.
Mm-hmm. What is pavlova?
Pavlova is originally an Australian dessert made of meringue, and it was named after Anna Pavlova, the ballerina. So it's just a big billowy piece of chewy meringue with lots of whipped cream on top, and then our featured berries, wild blueberries on top of that.
Wow, okay. So this has been whipping up.
Yeah, this is for the meringue portion. So once we are at this stage, we start adding our sugar in, and we add a little bit at a time, tablespoon or so at a time. And we'll get like a nice, rich, glossy meringue. And usually you want to let this go for about 10 minutes, but
that long?
Yeah.
For the sake of our show, for the sake of a 4-minute segment?
For the sake of our show, it's been 10 minutes now. And we're going to add the final ingredients.
So that would go for about 10 minutes?
10 minutes, yeah. And that part's pretty important. You really want the sugar to dissolve and for it to get some stability. And at that point, you add a bit of an unusual ingredient, white vinegar.
Into a dessert?
Yeah, it just helps with the texture of the pavlova. And cornstarch, and a little bit of vanilla. And let this go for just a few more seconds until that's all together.
Is most of the effort going into this part of it? Okay.
Yes, I would say so. Yeah, so there we go. That's all mixed up. And the cooking of it is the easiest thing. I mean, you can do this right before you go to bed, and the next day it's totally ready to go. So you just whip this up.
Because, you know, I just want to take my finger right now and go.
It's pretty good.
Here.
And, oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
And you just pile it. I've just drawn a circle on some parchment paper and flipped it over. And just pile it on. You could use a piping bag, but I like the look of really just like...
That didn't take much effort. You just had the dessert. Yeah, but
yeah, that's
you don't want, it doesn't need to be perfect, this dessert.
No, no. You want it to be kind of messy, thrown together looking.
Now, so after 10 minutes, this would have just been a little bit thicker, or would it actually still have been very similar?
It would have been a little bit more dense.
Okay.
It would have just stood up a little bit more. So you put this in a 300-degree oven, and as soon as you put it in, you turn it down to 250 and let it go for an hour. And after that, you turn the oven off and you go to bed, and the next morning it's ready. And you end up with this.
Okay.
So from here, we want to get some whipped cream, which I'll grab. Maybe you can whip it up for us. I'm just going to add a little bit of sugar to that. And vanilla. I'm not going to add all the sugar because we're going to top it off with something else. And the blueberries.
So we come down to the blueberries.
Yep, that's it. Now the blueberries, which is the most important part. You just heat them up with sugar, and you get these going. As soon as this comes to a simmer, which is really quick, it just starts to bubble. You remove it from the stove. You add a pile more blueberries.
Yeah.
So that way you have some sort of in a saucy consistency, and then you also have some whole. That's perfect. That's ready to go. And we also add a bit of lemon zest with our little zester here. So once this is a liquid, I'll just pour this over the whole blueberries.
I love that tool, by the way.
Yeah, it's
that's neat.
For
those of us that are not in the restaurant industry, we look at that. We see this all the time.
Yeah, no, it's like a good bartender tool too. So we'll have this. We'll pour our blueberry liquid over top, and so we have a cooled one. I made one in advance, and it'll come out looking like this, like a nice blueberry syrup. The blueberries stay nice and whole because their skins are really thick. They really stay intact.
That is an amazing smell that's coming out of there.
So from there, all we have to do is build our dessert. I'm going to grab another
we
spatula.
had the blueberries that we had to heat, and then we added the sugar, and then we added the colder ones, and then we added the lemon zest. Ended up with something like this.
Yes, exactly.
We had the cream. This sat in overnight.
Yeah, and this is our finished
This is our
meringue.
dessert that you actually, there's a lot of love, tender loving care that goes into this, because it's,
I guess
there's
so,
stages.
But there's stages, but it's really pretty easy. Cream is easy to whip. The berries you can do a week in advance and put them in the fridge in a jar. So
that's true.
You just pile the cream on.
Yeah.
Just a little. Okay.
And then go the blueberries.
And then our blueberries. And you can never have too many of these. So I like to really pile them in.
Is this something that you guys would be serving up, or this is just some of the special because you're into the blueberries right now?
I'm into the blueberries right now, so I'm doing this. But we do use blueberries on the menu at the Black Hat, the wild blueberries. When they're in season and when they're not in season, we'll make condiments like this and just pile them right on top. And I like it to drip over a little bit. It looks nice. And because we put the lemon in the blueberries when we were cooking them, I just like to add a little bit.
Can you wrap this up in about 10 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I just made those to put on top. And I just like to add some lemon too.
What a dessert. Can you imagine putting that out on the table?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
That looks amazing. That looks amazing. And always lots of fun recipes and some great finds that you can have and enjoy at the Black Cat Cafe. Great to see you here.
Thanks.
So Black Cat Bistro?
Black Cat Bistro.
Black Cat Bistro.
428 Preston.
We are going to take a commercial break. We have more to come still on CTV Morning Live. We'll be back after this.